All right, guys, it's Whiteboard Wednesday here. I'm actually in a company. They're letting me do my Whiteboard Wednesday here while I'm training at Salesforce. It's a logistics company, great company, growing like wildfire. And the topic I'm going to cover is obviously, you know, he didn't get paid, right? Is one that actually helps them as well. But seriously, it's a great topic, and what we're going through right now is the opening few seconds of the phone call, like a cold call, to land a new customer. Now, it's interesting here because one of the guys sitting to my left, Rob, great salesperson, a lot of experience, very, you know, he's always done well as a salesperson. But what you notice that even someone who's a natural salesperson, until they really get to that, like that ultra high level of straight line training, people tend to, it's like human nature to almost want to, like, I wouldn't say dumb down, but sort of ratchet down your communication to a level that you think is socially acceptable. Like, in other words, like, you know, you wouldn't walk around, hey, how you doing, Rob? How you doing? Like, you know, you seem like a fucking moron, right? So it doesn't really work in the real world. But there's something very different happens when you're in a situation of influence, especially if it's over the telephone. Remember, when there is no body language per se, what happens? Well, what happens is that tonality ends up collapsing into body language. Watch. You have three types of communication. You have your tonality, you have your body language, and then you have the words that you say. Now, you've probably seen me do this before, right? With tonality, it's let's say 45% of communication, body language is 45%, and the words are 10%. Now, when I say the words are only 10%, it doesn't mean that the words don't matter. The words do matter. The words matter 100%. They have 1% impact when you actually say words. The point is that as human beings, we do so much communication without actually speaking. We don't always communicate through words, but when we say the words, they matter. So the point is, you can't say stupid shit. Like I always say, you know, mastering the art of charisma. You know, like, oh, Jordan's got charisma, he's got charisma. Oh, but he doesn't have it. You know, it's just a load of shit. Charisma is a learnable skill. It's made up of three things. It's made up of effective tonality, appropriate body language, and not saying stupid shit, which should be the hardest thing of all for most people, right? So all three things go into communication. When you speak, the words have to be exactly right. When you're using your body language and your tonality together in person, right, you're having full communication, fully integrated, right? And a lot more is being said through here and here than through this, but this still matters. Now, when you're on the telephone, can they see you? Say, well, they really can't. Well, they actually can see you. They can't see you, but they make a mental image of what they think you look like based on how you sound. If you sound good, they make a positive image of you. If you sound like shit, you're boring, you're negative, you know, most people that are going through their day, you know, sort of boring days and neutral, right? They're not really high or low, it's just like going through the motions. And you don't want to be that guy that, hi, I'm Jim, you're just more of the same shit. You want to be that light that comes in and just sort of wakes them up and makes them feel good for a second. And that creates a little bit of what's called reciprocity. They almost owe you to listen because you brightened up their otherwise boring day. And it works. It actually works, all right? So let's get specific now. When we're talking about the telephone, right, what happens is your tonality ends up collapsing into body language. So there is no body language, so people will make the mental image based on how you sound and what words you say. I'll give you a perfect example. Many years ago, I was going to Australia for the first time, had to get a visa, right? Now, most normal people can get a visa, just go online and get a visa. I can't, for obvious reasons, right? I gotta fucking apply. It's actually Aussie in the room. It's no easy, for a person that has a criminal conviction, you can't come to Australia. Now, mine is non-violent, and they also are well known in the city, they let me in, but I had to go through the whole fucking process, right? So I said to my then girlfriend, okay, who's now my wife, basically, right? Or my pseudo wife, you know, we're not married anymore, right? And she tells me what to do, so she's my wife, right? Okay, so anyway, and she has a little money, so whatever, she's really my wife, right? The point is that I said, honey, do me a favor, can you hire one of these visa expediters? Because I don't want to fill out all these forms, just have them do the whole, and she goes, yeah, sure. So, you know, whatever, about a week to 10 days goes by. And I'm like, well, honey, hey, what's up with that visa expediter? She goes, oh, I gotta speak to his name is Boris. I'm I'm like, Boris? What the fuck's Boris? And I'm like, all right, I'm concerned Boris. This is like I want like Chet, from Chet Holmes who went to Harvard and worked in the White House. That's the guy I want getting my visa, right? He's white. I got Boris from the fucking knows where he's from. I'm thinking of Boris and Natasha from fucking Rocky and Bullwinkle, right? So anyway, I said, all right, give me a number. I'll go call Boris, right? So I get the phone, I dial the phone. Hello? I'm like, motherfucker, and I hung up the phone. Hung up. The second I heard this guy's thick accent, there's a lot of sleepy. I'm like, oh, I imagine this flat top guy with the freaking right off the boat from Russia. I love Russia, so don't get me wrong, but that's not the guy I wanted getting my visa for me. I want the guy who knows everybody in the State Department, not that he just got the boat himself. He's probably illegal, I'm thinking. From the first word out of his mouth, I formed a mental image. I imagine this guy with like some short, flat head and a fat head with a cheap rayon shirt and a thin, outdated tie. Like, that's my visa expert? No fucking way, right? And I hung up. But here's the question. This guy, Boris, could he have been the best visa guy in the world? Yes. He could have been the greatest, most proficient visa expediter ever. He never got to show me his stuff because that first word out of his mouth, he was done. I made a mental image of him in my mind, and based on his tonality, right? And I was that. Now, just so you understand, it's not so much just an accent, because an accent would have been okay. If he said, hi, it's Boris, can I help you? I'm like, okay, well, I give the guy a shot. He's got some energy. He was like, hello, it's Boris. I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. This is the guy, come on. He sounds like he's on Quaaludes. Not a good thing for Boris. I mean, maybe, okay? The point is that Boris never got a chance to even do his job, because in those first few seconds, I made that mental image of him based on his tonality, and it was done. Imagine a graph of communication, right? And this represents, this is 100% height and perfect straight line communication, right? When you're on every tonality, all 10 tonalities are being used exactly right, the words right. This is your best communication, right? And of course, you want to strive to get to this point, right? We're at the top. But the truth is that normal communication is somewhere around here, like 30%. We just move through life. I want you guys to at least get above the 75 to 100% where you sound good, you're sharp, you're on the ball. Remember those things? You're sharp as attack, enthusiastic as hell, an expert in your field, right? That comes through in the first 4 seconds of a conversation. And here's what happens. When you speak the right way, with the right tonalities, the words, guys, the words are simple. Because what could you really say? Let's just be real. Sharp as attack, I'll write it out for you. Sharp as attack, enthusiastic as hell. This is much I can fucking write here, right? That's terrible writing. And enthusiastic and expert in your field, or a force to be reckoned with. Those 3 things. Let me ask you a question. Is there any words that you could possibly say in 4 seconds to get that point across? No. Hey, Jim, I'm sharp as attack. I swear, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? You're saying there's no words. The words don't exist. There's nothing you could say to someone that quickly to get that point across. Now, how could you do it? Well, on the phone, it's going to be through your tonality, by sounding. Hey, Jim, Jordan Belfort called from XYZ company. Hey, they'll be like, okay, it doesn't sound like the average bear. Who is this person? They must have something. There's something in there. There's something in that tone of voice that says maybe I should listen further. Now, when you're in person, then body language, how you dress, how you shake hands, the eye contact you make, your smile. There's a lot you could do in those first few seconds, which is why when you're actually in person, that becomes a quarter of a second. In a quarter of a second, they make a decision about you. Seriously, it's been tested. I'm not making this shit up. That's how quickly human beings rip you up. They compartmentalize you. They put you back together based on how you're perceived. If you're perceived the right way, you're sharp, you're on the ball, you're an expert, they will defer to you, so they'll listen and they'll let you control the flow of the conversation. If they perceive you the opposite way, then they'll probably tune out or hang up. But even if they listen, they're going to be like kind of assholes and cocky to you. They'll try to take control. They won't let you control the flow. They won't let you ask them questions. Even if they let you, they'll give you perfunctory short answers, rushing you off the phone. When you sound exactly right, sharp, on the ball, enthusiastic, and expert, They say, you know what, maybe this person can help me get what I want. Maybe this is the guy that can be my logistics expert, the guy that can help me get the packages where I need them to get to. So I'll listen. It starts in the first few seconds. And your level of communication, remember, it's not here, it's here and above. Hey Jim, Jordan called for XYZ. How you take your reason for the call? Not Jim, but the reason for the call. So Rob, great salesman, right? But his natural inclination was, hey, so Jim, the reason for the call. I'm like, no, hey Jim, reason for the, is an extra level of juice, like some juice there. It's just above where you're like, not that shit. You're not yelling, yo Jim, it's Jordan. That's stupid, right? There's a sweet spot above even your best normal communication, just above that, and below this insanity at 100, right, is a sweet spot of perfect communication where you're every word, John, reason for the call, something just came out, the best thing I've seen. You have 60 seconds, great, just a couple of, you're like almost an actor on a stage. Now remember, the words matter. This is not about not having the right words to say. The point I'm making here is the words are easy. All right, with these guys, I handed them a perfect script that's, that most ethical, not one exaggeration or lie, right? It's just a perfect script. No, there's not much to say. It's just, hey, I'm calling from this company. Here's what we do. We work for these people. We're the best at what we do. I'd like to say some information. Does that sound good? There's no magic to the words. Now you can say stupid words, right? You can make shit up and get yourself in trouble, but you say basic words. It's how you say them that wins the day. Two people sit side by side. One person uses this heightened communication, just the right tonalities, correct words, the right energy force. At the end of the day, I promise you, this is like a stack of leads. This is like a stack of 30 leads. The other person will have like 8 to 10. You'll have 30 plus leads every day. You'll outperform the person who uses normal communication. The magic lies right up here. 80 to 100% of that top tonality. Hey Jim, Jordan Belfort, uptown from XYZ company in Detroit. How you doing today? Not how you doing today, what? How you doing today? What does that mean? It means I know that you know that you know that I know. I don't really give a shit how you doing today. It's a perfunctory question I ask you because it's a societal nicety. So yeah, how you doing today, Jim? You say, okay, yeah, good. We got that shit out of the way, so now try to tell me some shit. That's what you're like. Versus, how you doing today? Like, I really give a shit. Not like, how you doing today? You don't want to be an asshole, right? But how you doing today, Jim? Like, I really want to know. I care. Remember, rapport is based on two things. Number one, that you care. You're not just there to make a sale. And second, I'm just like you. Now, meaning we have things in common. I don't mean if you like fishing, I like fishing. Me and we speak at the same pace, I care, we understand, we process things the same way. So if Jim says to me, I say, Jim, how you doing today? He goes, I'm okay. I don't say, great. He's like, what the fuck is that about? Is that what I said to the guy? So again, you always want to make sure that Jim goes, I'm okay. You say, okay, great. Just above you. So, if Jim says, I'm okay, you don't say, great, like Tony the fucking Tiger, right? You're like, he says, I'm okay. You say, okay, great. If he says, oh, I'm good, you say, oh, great. He comes in higher, you come a bit higher. He comes in lower, just come just above him. So you want to match his tone. And then from there, you keep going. But the way you ask that question is, how you doing today? Not, how you doing today? We know it's bullshit. It's, how you doing today? He goes, I'm okay. You say, okay, great. Now, Jim, you might have heard of XYZ company. Now, not Jim, now you might have heard of XYZ. He's like, oh, fuck, another salesman. So I say, well, what do you say? That you might have heard. He's like, have I? They can't help them. Human beings, we are programmed. We have patterns we run. They're unconscious patterns. They're based on tonality. When we hear things a certain way, we respond, all right? So that's your Whiteboard Wednesday for today. It's about the use of tonality, especially in the open. You want to be fatigued here and here. You can't, this is normal communication. Every day you walk around, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, fuck you. Everyone walks around, no one cares. And we just like, yeah, you go, hey, Jimmy. It's all bullshit, right? I like a cup of coffee, thank you, yeah, thank you for the coffee. Like, the girls at Starbucks say, yeah, thank you very much, thank you. Yeah, you thank, bullshit, I don't really thank you. We just say that shit. There's no emotion attached to my words. That's normal communication. Yeah, I'll have a spaghetti, I want a meatball here. It's just words, you understand? That's how we move through life. When we influence, we need to move above normal communication. We have a point we try to get across. We can't sound normal. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. See the difference? I say, listen, it doesn't work. What? It doesn't work. Which one's got more power? The second one. I say to you, hey, how you doing today? You're like, all right. I say, hey, how you doing today? Which one sounds better? The second one. I say, Jim, now the reason for the call today, you're like, okay. I say, now Jim, the reason for the call today? And you're like, what? Big difference. So any one tonality doesn't make the perfect introduction. But when you combine them all together, it's magic. On some level, the first 5 minutes of a sale is mostly about not blowing it. It's not like you do this and close a sale because of it. It opens up the possibility for you to influence by sounding great. So, most people in sales that are untrained, they don't get knocked out of the box because of any one stupid thing they do. It's death from 1,000 cuts. They sound boring, they don't say anything exciting, it's nick, and they get to the certain point that there's like a tipping point and you're done. You hang up on you or they're out of the game, they just can't be influenced anymore. So what you're doing in that opening part of sale, you're stopping yourself from dying from death from 1,000 cuts. You're essentially sounding great, and when you're doing this really at the highest level, you're positioning yourself, you're opening up the possibility to influence someone because they perceive you in just the right way. And when they do, the natural instinct we have, and we've been trained since we're yay big, is when we're in the presence of an expert or a figure of authority, we defer. We will let them control. When your parents took you to the doctor, you were like, it's a doctor. You're like, and the doctor would ask you a question, and you'd answer that. You would say, fuck you, well, how are you feeling today, That's what's bothering you? What's bothering you? Doc says bend over with the thing. You're like, oh, fuck, okay, you bend over, right? We just do. But what would happen if the nurse came and said, bend over? Oh, that should look like that. I don't mean that. The point is that what would happen if like a medical assistant that hadn't been through medical school asked you to bend over? Would you bend over? Probably not. I want the guy that's earned the right to tell me to bend over. Right? 8 years, 8 tests, how much money you spent there? Okay, I'll bend over, fine, all right? You've earned the right. Well, on some level, when you are on the phone, no matter what you're selling, you need to be the person that's earned the right to ask them questions. So when I ask you my intelligence gathering questions, have you earned the right to do that? Do you sound good enough? Do you sound compelling enough? Are you an expert in your field? If you are, I'll probably answer your questions. Like, you know what, all right, he's an expert, he could probably help me. At least there's a shot. If the guy sounds like a dullard, okay, and the IQ of Forrest Gump on 3 hits of acid, well, fuck you, I'm not gonna answer your questions, bye, click, have a nice day. That's the secret, guys. It's so powerful, and you know what? It just works. It's over years and years and years. I've seen this happen where you have people that walk into a sales force and they're communicating at this level, and they're barely getting by. They're making a little bit of money, and you show them how to communicate up here. It's like you come back 2 weeks later, and the place is rocking. Everyone's making a ton of money. That's where your communication lies. It's not yelling and screaming. It's often being quiet. It's not about that's not what I mean. You don't have to talk fast. You can talk slowly, but talk with power. Talk with passion. And have enthusiasm is not. He said it's bottled enthusiasm. It's not yelling and screaming. It's below the surface. It's like that. It's there. They feel it. It's palpable. But you're in control because you're an expert. It doesn't release. It's there. They know it's there. And because of that, they comply. And that's your Whiteboard Wednesday. I love you all, and see you next week. Take care. Bye. Thanks, guys.